This gorgeous perennial could destroy an entire ecosystem, and it's probably in your local garden center right now. Every year, gardeners unknowingly spend over $2 billion on plants that will become their worst nightmare. These botanical bullies don't just take over your garden. They escape into the wild and wreak havoc on entire landscapes. But here's the thing. For every invasive plant destroying our ecosystems, there's a native hero plant waiting to save the day. And today, I'm going to show you exactly which plants to avoid and which ones will transform your garden into an ecological powerhouse. Think of your garden as a neighborhood party. Native plants are the perfect guests. They bring something beautiful to share. They get along with everyone, and they know when it's time to leave. Invasive plants? They're the guests who eat all the food, monopolize the conversation, and refuse to go home. But here's what most gardeners don't realize. These botanical bullies don't stay in your yard. They escape through bird droppings, wind dispersal, and root systems that spread underground like a secret network of destruction. Let me introduce you to the 7 worst offenders, the invasive perennials that are currently staging a hostile takeover of North American ecosystems. 1. Purple Loosestrife. First up, purple Loosestrife, the purple menace. This stunning purple flower looks innocent enough at your local garden center, but it's been called the purple plague for good reason. One mature plant can produce over 2 million seeds per year. That's not a typo, 2 million. These seeds can remain viable in the soil for decades, waiting for the perfect conditions to germinate. Once established, purple loosestrife forms dense colonies that completely choke out native wetland plants. It's so aggressive that it can alter the water chemistry of entire marshes, making them uninhabitable for native wildlife like red-winged blackbirds and native amphibians. 2. Japanese knotweed. Next, Japanese knotweed, the concrete cracker. This beast is so aggressive, it can literally break through concrete foundations, driveways, and even building structures. The underground rhizome system can extend up to 20 feet from the parent plant and reach depths of 10 feet. Here's the scary part. Japanese knotweed can regrow from a piece of root smaller than your fingernail. That means even tiny fragments left in the soil after removal can start new colonies. Some homeowners have spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to eradicate this plant from their property. 3. Autumn olive. Then we have autumn olive, the sneaky spreader. This shrub was actually promoted by government agencies in the 1960s for erosion control and wildlife habitat. What a mistake that was. Birds love its berries, which means they're constantly spreading seeds across the landscape in their droppings. What starts as one pretty shrub with silvery leaves and fragrant flowers becomes a forest invasion. Autumn olive can form dense thickets that shade out native understory plants, completely altering forest ecosystems. It also fixes nitrogen in the soil, which sounds good but actually changes soil chemistry in ways that favor other invasive plants. 4. Crown vetch. Crown vetch is the slope strangler, originally planted along highways to prevent erosion, but now it's smothering native ground covers and creating monocultures on hillsides across the country. Its deep taproot and spreading crown make it incredibly difficult to remove once established. This plant is particularly problematic because it can completely dominate slopes and embankments, preventing native plants from establishing. It may control erosion, but it creates biological deserts where native wildlife can't find the food and shelter they need. 5. English ivy. English ivy might look elegant climbing up buildings in old movies, but it's actually the tree killer. This evergreen vine adds tremendous weight to trees, blocks sunlight from reaching the bark, and creates perfect conditions for pests and diseases. Mature English ivy can produce berries that are spread by birds, creating new colonies throughout natural areas. It's particularly devastating in Pacific Northwest forests, where it can completely carpet the forest floor, preventing native plants from regenerating. 6. Perennial pepperweed. Perennial pepperweed is the salt marsh destroyer. It actually changes soil chemistry by concentrating salt, making it impossible for native plants to survive. This plant can tolerate extremely salty conditions and often invades coastal areas and roadside ditches where salt spray or road salt creates challenging growing conditions. What makes it particularly insidious is that it spreads both by seed and by underground root fragments. Even small disturbances to the soil can spread root pieces that start new colonies. 7. Giant hogweed. And finally, giant hogweed, the skin burner. This one's not just ecologically dangerous, it's dangerous to you and your family. Its sap contains toxic compounds that cause severe burns and blisters when exposed to sunlight. These burns can last for years and leave permanent scars. Giant hogweed can grow up to 14 feet tall with umbrella-like flower clusters that can span 2 feet across. It's often mistaken for harmless native plants, but contact with any part of this plant can send you to the emergency room. Now for the exciting part. Meet your garden's new superheroes. These 7 native plants don't just avoid the problems of invasives. They actively heal ecosystems and provide incredible benefits for both wildlife and your family. 1. Blue flag iris. Hero plant number 1. Blue flag iris, the wetland warrior. This stunning native iris produces the same gorgeous purple blooms as purple loosestrife, but instead of destroying wetlands, it actually helps restore them. The flowers are absolutely spectacular, deep blue-purple with intricate yellow markings that seem to glow in the sunlight. But here's what makes this plant truly special. Its root system acts like a natural water filtration system, removing excess nutrients and pollutants from water. Blue flag iris provides critical habitat for native wildlife. The seeds feed waterfowl, the nectar feeds native bees and butterflies, and the foliage provides shelter for amphibians and aquatic insects. Unlike purple loosestrife, which creates biological deserts, blue flag iris creates thriving wetland communities. Plant this in any area with consistent moisture, pond edges, rain gardens, or naturally wet spots in your yard. It's incredibly low maintenance once established, and will reward you with spectacular blooms every spring. 2. Wild ginger. Hero plant number 2. Wild ginger, the shade champion. Tired of English ivy taking over your shaded areas? Wild ginger creates a beautiful heart-shaped leaf carpet that native woodland creatures actually use for shelter and foraging. This plant has one of the most fascinating flowers in the native plant world. Small, burgundy, jug-shaped blooms that appear right at ground level beneath the leaves. They're pollinated by ants and beetles, making wild ginger an important part of the woodland ecosystem's intricate web. The leaves have a subtle ginger scent when crushed, and historically, Native Americans used the roots for medicinal purposes. Unlike English ivy, which creates dense mats that nothing can penetrate, wild ginger allows other woodland plants to coexist while providing excellent ground cover. Plant wild ginger in any shaded area with rich, moist soil. It spreads slowly by underground rhizomes, forming beautiful colonies that get better with age. It's perfect under trees, along woodland paths, or in shaded foundation plantings. 3. Ninebark. Hero plant number 3. Ninebark, the four-season guardian. This native shrub gives you everything autumn olive promises, but better, with 4 seasons of interest and incredible wildlife value. In spring, ninebark produces clusters of white flowers that attract over 200 species of native bees and beneficial insects. The flowers have a subtle honey fragrance and create a spectacular display that rivals any ornamental shrub. But here's what makes ninebark special. It literally provides 4 seasons of beauty. Spring brings the flowers, summer brings interesting seed pods, fall brings gorgeous yellow foliage, and winter reveals the plant's most distinctive feature, bark that peels in multiple layers, creating beautiful texture and winter interest. For wildlife, ninebark is like having a bird and butterfly magnet in your yard. The seed pods feed birds well into winter. The dense branching provides nesting sites, and the flowers support an incredible diversity of pollinators. Plant ninebark as a specimen shrub, in mixed borders, or as a natural hedge. It's extremely adaptable to different soil conditions and requires virtually no maintenance once established. 4. Little bluestem. Hero plant number 4. Little bluestem, the erosion eliminator. This native grass has roots that extend 10 feet deep. That's 5 times deeper than crown vetch. It prevents erosion better than any invasive, while providing incredible fall color and winter interest. Little bluestem is one of the most beautiful native grasses, with blue-green summer foliage that transforms into stunning bronze, orange, and purple tones in fall. The seed heads catch the light beautifully and provide food for birds throughout winter. But the real magic happens underground. Those deep roots don't just prevent erosion, they store carbon, improve soil structure, and create habitat for beneficial soil organisms. Little bluestem can literally rebuild degraded soils while providing habitat for native wildlife. This grass is incredibly drought-tolerant once established and requires no fertilizer or watering. It's perfect for slopes, prairie gardens, or anywhere you want low-maintenance beauty with ecological benefits. 5. Wild bergamot. Hero plant number 5. Wild bergamot, the pollinator paradise. This native mint relative produces stunning purple flowers that attract every beneficial insect in the neighborhood. If you want to see your garden come alive with pollinators, this is your plant. The flowers bloom for months, not weeks, providing consistent nectar for native bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. The foliage has a wonderful minty fragrance that's released when you brush against it, and historically, Native Americans used it for medicinal teas. Wild bergamot is also incredibly useful for natural pest control. The aromatic oils in the leaves repel many garden pests while attracting beneficial insects that prey on problem insects. It's like having a natural pest management system in your garden. Plant wild bergamot in full sun to partial shade, in average to dry soil. It spreads by underground rhizomes to form beautiful colonies, and you can harvest the leaves for herbal teas. It's perfect for pollinator gardens, herb gardens, or naturalized areas. 6. Virginia creeper. Hero plant number 6. Virginia creeper, the gentle climber. If you want something to climb your walls or fences, this native vine gives you spectacular fall color without strangling trees like English ivy does. Virginia creeper produces some of the most brilliant fall color of any native plant, deep crimson, orange, and purple that literally glows in the autumn sunlight. The 5-leaflet compound leaves are beautiful throughout the growing season, and the vine produces small berries that are incredibly important for wildlife. Over 35 species of birds eat Virginia creeper berries, including woodpeckers, thrushes, and vireos. The dense growth provides excellent nesting sites and shelter for small birds and beneficial insects. Unlike English ivy, Virginia creeper doesn't damage trees or buildings. It climbs using small adhesive pads that don't penetrate bark or masonry, and it naturally knows when to stop growing. Plant Virginia creeper anywhere you want vertical interest, fences, trellises, or to soften hard architectural features. It's incredibly adaptable and virtually maintenance-free once established. 7. Wild columbine. Hero plant number 7. Wild columbine, the hummingbird magnet. These delicate spurred flowers are specifically designed to attract hummingbirds and native long-tongued bees. They provide the dramatic height and unique flowers of giant hogweed without any of the danger. Wild columbine flowers are absolutely exquisite. Delicate spurred blooms in red and yellow that seem to dance in the breeze. They're perfectly designed for hummingbird pollination, with long spurs that match the length of hummingbird tongues. The plants have beautiful blue-green foliage that remains attractive throughout the growing season, and they readily self-seed to create natural colonies. Each plant is relatively short-lived, but they create sustainable populations through natural reseeding. Wild columbine is perfect for woodland gardens, shade borders, or anywhere you want to attract hummingbirds. It prefers partial shade and well-drained soil, and it combines beautifully with other native woodland plants. Here's another secret. Get your neighbors involved. Invasive plants don't respect property lines. If you're removing English ivy from your yard but your neighbor is still growing it, you're fighting a losing battle. Start a neighborhood native plant swap. Every spring, divide your native plants and trade with neighbors. I want you to identify one invasive plant in your yard and replace it with one native alternative from today's list. If this video inspired you to make better plant choices, hit that like button and subscribe for more wisdom.